for who Iris is in her book, which I know has already been very, very popular in the hour. Now, we previewed our leaf jewelry, our two-tone leaf jewelry, very limited, on sale. This particular piece here, in terms of size, in the pin is 3.5 inches in length and just a little, about 3 5/8 of an inch in the width. I have fewer than 200 of this pin at $45.93. And we're also featuring that on 2 flex pays. So you can break your payments up over the next couple of months. That's about $23 with your shipping and handling. And we'll ship that directly to you. Now, the earrings, I have 100 pair remaining. And again, there's a right and a left. They frame your face. You're gonna see that done so beautifully on Shailene, just stunning. And those are coming in at just about 1 3/8 of an inch in length and tad bit over 1 inch side to side, about 1 1/8 of an inch side to side. You'll notice they have the Omega backings on them, so that's gonna keep them balanced, so they're not gonna be pulling or moving forward. So nice that it has, you know, that little accent to it, but I want you to see how we styled this with Iris's brand new dress, her fringe dress. That is, again, going back, the signature necklace. That's called the chained. It's C-H-A-I-N-E-D. The chain necklace that has been a customer pick with hundreds of reviews that we collect. And what we did was just take the brooch and just anchored it through the actual one of the links and then onto the sweater dress. Beautiful. So sophisticated. So if you're able to get both here, what an opportunity. It'd be a truly, truly fantastic to accessorize. I said when we were previewing, it just reminds me of a leaf where it snowed, it was super, super, super freezing cold, and you woke up the next day and it had that perfect iciness on it. And you could see the veins coming through and it just is so crisp and beautiful, and that's exactly what it reminds me of. But again, with the dimension, this will be stamped Iris Apfel Rara Avis. So you have, again, a highly collectible, beautiful piece. And this one is simple. If you're, tend to go with silver or gold, or you mix and match your jewelry, guess what? This is gonna go with everything. It's not gonna clash with anything. If you're saying, well, gee whiz, and I have a winter coat, but it has gold buttons, it works. I have a winter coat, but it has silver buttons or white metal buttons. It's gonna work. It's that one piece, again, universally as a gift. It's that perfect brooch. And brooch and pins have been truly, truly highly collectible. Last call on the earrings, just a quick update. But what we're seeing with these pieces is pins being one of the easiest ways to accessorize. A lot of times, not just obviously wearing it on your clothing, but also on accessories like handbags and hats. And a lot of people, and I've done this through the years too, I'll take a beautiful pin and it's so pretty, it's like a little work of art. I don't want to put it in the jewelry box, so I'll put it on my lampshade, gonna use it as home decor. This is one of those pieces that you'd be able to do so. I'll keep you updated.